This time next week, I'll be in Indianapolis for the Combine, Rube.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's already here. We're moving along in this offseason.
Next thing you know, it'll be training camp.
A few steps before then, but you're right. It goes fast in the offseason. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast brought to you by Nissan Reuben Frank and Dave Zangaro. A bunch to get to today. A little bit later, we're going to take a listen to my interview with Cooper DeJean from last week. I thought a lot of really good stuff in there, so we'll have a chance to listen to that and then break down some of that in a little bit. We have questions from all you guys coming up in a little bit. I want to talk about two potential edge rusher options for the Eagles this offseason. We want to talk about the new quarterbacks coach. There's a lot on the plate here, but let's start with the big news of the day, Rube. No more NovaCare Complex.
They tore it down?
They didn't tear it down. They tore down the sign, or they're going to. Now the Jefferson Health Training Complex.
Remember how much time they took painting that NovaCare complex on the roof of the bubble?
It was the first thing I thought of. That was probably what, like 6-7 years ago?
Yeah.
You and I were fascinated by this. On top of the training bubble, they had like probably like 3 or 4 guys on some kind of like pulley system ladder to get up there. I guess it was decals. I don't know if they're painting or decals, but to get the NovaCare Complex logo, NovaCare logo up on top of that bubble, I guess they got to go back up there.
Got to redo it. That's going to be a big project. I just hope we're there to see it.
The Jefferson Health Training Complex. The Jefferson Health Training Complex. The Jefferson Health Training Complex. Is it sticking yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
It might take a while because, I mean, it's been the NovaCare since it opened, which was what, 2003?
2001. So
2001.
25 years.
Yeah. I remember Joe Banner telling me a story right when it opened. It had been open for a few weeks. And, you know, all the Eagles offices before that were at the vet. And Joe Banner was on the phone with Andy Reid on the way to work one morning. And he just started laughing. And Andy said, "What's so funny?" He said, I just parked at the vet. I just went to the wrong place. But yeah, it was state of the art when it opened. Maybe not quite. If you've seen some of the other facilities.
Some of those other facilities are pretty unreal.
Yeah, and when you do joint practices, you kind of get to see some of them. That Jets facility in Florham Park is beautiful. The Ravens facility is something. Have you been down to Owings Mills for the Ravens?
I have not.
It's something else there. So,
love the Dolphins facility.
Yeah, you had a joint practice there, and then a second one canceled, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder how this might affect any future, because I don't want to say it's obsolete. It's still a nice place, but it's certainly, and it's important. Like when you're recruiting free agents, they want to see a state-of-the-art facility, and they don't have that. So I wonder what the future holds for the Jefferson Health. What is it?
Jefferson Health Training Complex.
The train. I mean,
the JHTC.
Yeah, that doesn't really kind of roll off the tongue like, you know.
It is funny though,
NCC.
when like in the building we're in right now, you know, this building has changed names so many times, but this last rebrand, it actually looks really cool. All the like the purple Xfinity everywhere.
Yeah.
So you can do it and make it's funny. I saw a bunch of fans like hating change. I'm like, no one even goes to the NovaCare Complex. It's not like, you know, people aren't going there other than some select fans for training camp.
Yeah. But I think it gets so ingrained, like 25 years is a long time to be calling it anything. So it's gonna take a while. We're sitting over here, like you going over the NovaCare. I think we're gonna keep saying that for a while.
It's gonna be tough to break that. Do we call it the Jeff?
No, the owner of the team is Jeff, so it's just kind of
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like the music venue in Camden.
I don't even know what that is right now.
Nobody
is it Susquehanna right now?
I think is it still a BBT or no? I don't know.
I think it's let's see. Camden. What do you call it? Like an amphitheater?
It is, I guess, supposedly it's an amphitheater.
Freedom Mortgage Pavilion.
Okay.
I actually knew that. Now that I read it. Yeah, it's had a bunch of different names.
Yeah. I mean, in an ideal world, venues would have the same name forever. It just makes things simpler. Like if we say if we're making reference to like that injury he suffered at practice at the NovaCare, how do you say it? Like at the NovaCare complex or at the Jefferson Health?
Well, now we'll be at the Jefferson Health Training
But I
Complex.
mean, if we're referring to an injury that happened, like let's say we're talking about who got hurt at the complex, Devin Allen's injury towards ACL on the practice field.
Devin Allen.
I couldn't. It's the first guy I thought of. Got hurt at the NovaCare complex. He did not get hurt at the Jefferson Health Training Center. So if they re-sign him and referring to the injury, how do we phrase it? I don't know.
I don't think they're going to re-sign him.
It's just hypothetical.
I know you're hoping.
It's a theoretical.
He might not come back just so he doesn't have to talk track with you.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the highlight of his day.
I get what you're saying. I think at that point you would call it an NovaCare complex. That's what it was when it happened.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, and some of the places like, do you remember that great concert we saw in Camden? Like you just say in Camden because
you know what you mean.
Remember that amazing sunflower bean show at the Rich Hoffman used to call it "Insert Logo Here" stadium.
I'm amazed though, like one of these big, like this building, like whenever there's a name change, they're so good at like removing any remnants of the previous, which is hard. It's like you pay a lot of money for that naming right. It goes everywhere.
Yeah.
And you got to like, I remember the one time I guess it was when Wachovia Bank changed to Wells Fargo Bank. Not even at like the bank locations. I felt like down to a pen they had changed it out.
It's funny that you say that. When I was interviewing here, I was out on the plaza out there on the concrete plaza outside our front entrance, and I was doing a video, and Ben Seidman was shooting it. Shout out to Ben Seidman, and they were in the process of converting Wachovia to Wells Fargo, and they were like removing the sign. So they were blasting it like as I'm trying to do this interview. So there's like trucks on 95, there's planes landing, and there's like they're like steam blasting the walk. But what they did, they left the W.
I was about to ask.
They left the W. So they only had to replace the rest of the letters. Same W. No longer there.
I like that.
That W lasted for 2 names.
So do you think at the Jefferson Health Training Complex they'll leave the word complex?
I don't know if they'll have room, like, because Jefferson Health, but I thought you said training facility.
It's complex.
Jefferson Health Training Complex.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have room. I guess. I mean, if you can have a word, although it might be like a different font. Like they might have a proprietary font for Jefferson.
We should probably move on because we talked about how much we had to get to today, and now we're talking about fonts and corporate logos. So yeah,
that's big business. Yeah. I have a friend who teaches fonts.
Really?
Has a class in typefaces. Yeah.
Are you a serif or a sans serif guy?
Oh, you know me. But you see on when I change our Google Docs, it
drives me nuts.
It's always to a serif typeface.
Yeah, and I'm a sans serif because I don't want to mess around. I'm not messing about here. I'm getting into business.
We have an ongoing battle with typefaces. Google Docs.
Yeah, we have like a shared Google Doc for some things, and nothing makes me madder than when I go in there and there's some wacky font. Just give me Arial and let's move on.
It's not happening.
All right, let's move on for real, though. Jefferson Health Training Complex.
We're out of time. We're going to go to questions now.
Let's talk about it's just about out of time. Let's get to actually some meat here. A report from CBS Sports that the Eagles' new quarterbacks coach is someone who already was in the building, Parks Frazier.
Which building?
Taking over that job. What do you make of that news, Rube?
Interesting, especially because they were interviewing outside candidates for that job.
At least one we know of.
At least one. I think what it says is that Jalen's comfortable around him. You wouldn't make him QB's coach if Jalen hadn't, built up a good relationship with him in his year here. Last year, Jalen's had, what is this, his 6th quarterback's coach?
6th, yeah.
I know he really misses
5 under Nick Sirianni.
Alex Tanney.
Yeah, we can go through him. I mean, he started off with Press Taylor in 2020. Then he had Brian Johnson for a couple years. And then when they promoted Brian Johnson, he had Alex Tanney. Then he had Doug Nussmeier. Then last year, he had Scott Loeffler. And now it looks like this year it's going to be Parks Frazier.
Yeah, and we talk so much about how many different offensive coordinators he's had. He's had just as many quarterbacks coaches. And when you combine the role, as we're talking about, and then you think about how many passing game he's had like 15 different like coaches that he's worked with, and that can't be easy. He's got 2 new ones this year, but I it's kind of surprising because you have kind of a offensive oriented, passing game oriented new offensive coordinator. You would think he might want to bring in his own guy, but Parks Frazier must have impressed him impressed somebody in that building to the point where he'll carry over from Kevin Patullo's staff to Sean Mannion's.
Yeah, and look, the optics of it aren't going to be great because he was a part of a really disappointing 2025 season. Like, no one clearly had the answers last year. He was the passing game coordinator. The passing game wasn't good enough. So, like, from that standpoint, you're like, all right, well, this is underwhelming, especially because, they hired Parks Frazier. He's thought to be this up and coming coach, but he comes from Indianapolis. He coached with Nick Sirianni in Indy under Frank Reich. So, like, so much of this offseason has been about getting new ideas, fresh perspective. And then they promote a guy. I don't know if it's promotion or not, but they keep a guy and give him a pretty important job from within, despite that familiarity, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but the optics of it are tough.
And the other thing that came to my mind was, if you liked him enough to keep him, why didn't you like him enough to maybe give him play calling when Patullo was obviously struggling with it? Because that's kind of what it seemed like, why they didn't change play callers during the season, because they didn't have anybody they could trust with it. Now, quarterbacks coach and play caller are different things. Maybe they felt like he wasn't ready for one and was ready for the other, but either you like him as a coach or you don't, and it's just kind of a mixed message there.
Yeah, so now, like, we're looking at this staff, and it really is a blend of Sirianni coaches and Mannion coaches.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so hard. It's so hard to kind of, like, what was Parks Frazier's level of responsibility for the offensive struggles? There's no way to break it down.
Yeah. Sometimes these titles make it impossible. Like, what does a passing game coordinator do? I think there are some standard answers, but I think it really varies from team to team.
Yeah, and how much real say he has in what's happening, we don't know that. Did we talk to Parks Frazier in training camp at all? Do you remember if he came?
I don't believe so.
I don't think we've ever interviewed him.
And he's someone that, like, if he came from a different building, you'd be excited about this hire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, it's all a perception.
Well, he kind of did, because he came from the NovaCare complex. Now he's working in the Jefferson Health Training Complex.
Yeah, you nailed that one. But he's the kind of, like, he's 34 years old, kind of rose quickly. He in a way, like, he reminds me of a Press Taylor, where, Press Taylor gets promoted in Chicago, and, like, around the league, he's viewed way differently than he is here. But it's just all a matter of, the experience you have with a particular player or coach. But Parks Frazier was a quality control coach. He actually started in the NFL as the assistant to the head coach for 2 years with Frank Reich, which is the way a lot of, like, low-level coaches start. Then offensive quality control coach for just a year, then assistant quarterbacks coach for 2 years, became the interim offensive coordinator in 2022, that last season there under Frank Reich, then went to Carolina, then to Miami, and then came here in 2025.
Yeah, so he's bounced around a little bit. I think the most important thing with a quarterbacks coach is his relationship with Jalen. I don't think he gets this position without a good relationship with Jalen. Because after all the different changes in OC and quarterbacks coach and passing game coordinator, you're not going to hire a guy that, without Jalen signing off on it. I just can't imagine. So, it could have been a deal where Jalen really appreciated his input and felt like he was, he had a lot to offer, but he just didn't really have the clout to really have some substantive change in the offense. I don't know. But it is a curious hire.
Yeah, so we knew that the Eagles were at least looking around at quarterbacks coaches. They interviewed Connor Sanger, who was a really popular name this offseason. Has he gotten hired anywhere?
I don't believe he has.
I don't think so. The last news story here I have is that the Seahawks were interviewing him for offensive coordinator, even though they have some internal candidates. It makes sense. But he's kind of an up-and-comer, 30 years old, passing game coordinator from the Cardinals, now obviously presumably available for other teams. They interviewed him, and that was the only interview we heard about. They could have talked to other people. We know that there was some reported interest in Greg Olson, not that Greg Olson, the coach Greg Olson, who's been like an NFL veteran. I don't know if that was like a veteran coach saying, hey, I kind of just don't want to move to the East Coast and do this job. That's possible. But it is like, it's an interesting way to arrive at a new coach after interviewing outside candidates and then settling, or at least appearing to settle for an internal candidate.
Yeah, that's really surprising. I don't remember that really happening. And I think when Singer interviewed, I mean, we were all assuming that meant that Parks Frazier would not be here.
Well, not Parks Frazier. I mean, I found out last week that Parks Frazier was going to remain on the staff. I just didn't know in what capacity. I mean, we thought it meant something. We thought it meant Scott Loeffler was definitely out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that means he's definitely not going to be here. We don't know that for a fact, but you just think a new offensive coordinator, that anything related to the passing game, he's going to want to bring his own people in. So that's why it's surprising.
Yeah. And it's curious when you think about, like, Kellen Moore comes in, the one coach he brings with him is the quarterback's coach.
Right.
So this is kind of like the reverse of that, right? Like the quarterback's coach is already here, and then Mannion gets to bring in some other pieces to fill in, and that are more closely associated with the run game.
Right.
He brings in a new run game coordinator, brings in a new offensive line coach with ties to the system he wants to run.
And tight ends coach. Yeah. Yeah, it's an odd mixture. There's no way to know how it's going to work. I think it can't be worse, I guess. Maybe it can be.
Say that, but
could be worse.
Well, you said your big takeaway was that Jalen was on board with Parks Frazier. I think my big takeaway is that Sean Mannion is going to be awfully involved with the quarterbacks anyway. Like, this is his background. He's a former NFL quarterback. I did that story about his time at the Shrine Bowl, and that was kind of what I heard from everyone there, is that, like, even though he was the OC, like, he was in the quarterback room all the time. He was spending time with those players individually. Like, I think
you talked to quarterbacks, so right? You talked to 3 of the quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they would focus on that aspect of what he was doing, but that's not to take anything away from him.
Okay. Yeah, no, but I mean, I talked to other people who said he spent a lot of time with the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I think that's true, that he spent more time with the quarterbacks than the other positions.
I'm not doubting it. I just think it's interesting.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be the case here. It all runs through the quarterback. I think he's going to be spending an awful lot of time with Jalen Hurts.
And we even speculated that he might be OC/quarterbacks coach, which a lot of OCs want to be.
Which, like, he might be, in a way. Like, the title won't
de facto.
Be that.
Yeah. But it's an interesting dynamic. It's going to be fun to see how it all works together.
Yeah. Because I think that, if this is going to, the reason you hire a Sean Mannion is, like, obviously you're chasing a scheme, which sometimes isn't always the best route, but beyond that, they like the coach, and this coach's expertise is going to be with quarterbacks. So why wouldn't you want him spending as much time with the starting quarterback and the franchise quarterback as possible?
I'd love to know how Parks Frazier won over Sean Mannion during that process.
Or did he? I mean, or is this a Nick Sirianni hire?
I guess it's possible.
I mean, Nick's fingerprints are still all over this coaching staff.
Yeah, no question about that. I mean, 2 position coaches in the same role. And Aaron Moorhead's the one that's surprising to me, just because you would think a passing, oriented OC would want his own quarterbacks coach and his own wide receivers coach. So, like Singleton, that didn't shock me, but those 2, I'm a little surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we keep saying like that he's a passing oriented guy because I get it. He played quarterback. He's been a quarterback's coach, but like a big part of this change is going to be the run game.
It's true.
You know, it's like we shouldn't lose sight of that just because he has a quarterback background.
No, that's true. But I mean, that's kind of what I'm focusing on as far as building a staff. Um, but certainly the staff kind of involved with the running game is a lot different than there's a lot more change there than with the passing game.
It is like you take a step back. It's a really young staff.
It is.
It's a young staff. It's somewhat inexperienced. I mean, like some of these guys have a little bit. Even obviously Sean Mannion, 2 years of coaching. He's the OC. Josh Grizzard had 1 year as an OC, and it didn't go well. He got fired. Chris Cooper had 4 or 5 years as an offensive line coach. They didn't pick him up. Ryan Mahaffey, like relatively young guy as well, not a ton of experience. So that's kind of my big takeaway right now I wonder if like all those three guys that I mentioned, well, not Grizzard, but some of those guys, Mahaffey, Cooper, and Mannion, all have playing experience in the NFL. I wonder how much like it's tough to know how much to value that because it's not coaching experience. It isn't, but you've been around the game. You've been around, in Mannion's case, like some incredible coaches as a player. Like how much does that factor in? And I like at least with Mannion, I remember that you remember the statement that Nick Sirianni had right when they hired him. They talked
11
about
years.
his 11 years of NFL experience, not his 2 years of coaching experience. Now, obviously, that helps to soothe some people who are worried about 2 years of coaching experience, but I do think that factors into the way they view a resume right now.
Well, I think when you're a new assistant coach, having that NFL experience, games played, and I think that's the first thing guys look at. I mean, because you want to, I mean, you want to prove you're a credible coach, and if you have, 8 years playing offensive line for the Broncos, that's pretty good resume builder right there.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't guarantee players are going to respect you and listen to you and buy in, but it's a good starting point.
Yeah. Was that kind of your takeaway too? And we haven't gotten the full coaching staff list yet. I'm assuming that'll come soon, but you take a step back and is that your first takeaway? Is like, wow, well, not super experienced.
Yeah, just young. I was looking at actually writing about that in my obs this week. I had a little chart of everyone's age, and it's definitely a younger staff.
Yeah, not a bad thing. I
No,
mean, it's the older I get, the harder it is to see all these coaches being younger than me. It was. Did you have that? What? How old were you when you started covering the league?
gosh, 27.
Okay, so you probably started in like half of the player. You were like kind of like median age of players, right?
Yeah,
So when I started, I was younger than most of the players, and I've since like if BG retires, or no longer will there be one older than me. So I've out like I'm now older than all the players, but I haven't been paying attention to the coaches as much. I look up right now and I'm older than the coaches, and that makes me uncomfortable. I don't like that.
I'm used to it.
Anything else on the coaching staff?
No,
Okay. Uh, I wanted to talk about two edge rushers, and we can go in whichever order you want. Let's start with the one who is officially available. That's Bradley Chubb. Got released by the Dolphins on Monday. Not a surprise. The Dolphins releasing a lot of players. They're kind of starting fresh down there in Miami. But Bradley Chubb, still a good pass rusher, probably past his prime. Will turn 30 this offseason, but has a history with Vic Fangio and is a free agent right now. You can go sign him right now. You don't have to wait until the start of the league year. Uh, what do you make of the name? Do you think he's someone who could end up in Philly?
and he played for Vic in Denver too, right?
Yeah, so played for Vic in Denver and then the 1 year in Miami.
Yeah. I don't know if he has a ton left. I don't really know. Um, was he 29? You said.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, he did have what do you have? 8.5 sacks this year?
Yeah, a good year for him. 8.5 sacks, 20 QB hits, played all 17 games after missing the entire 24 season.
Torn ACL in 24.
Yeah.
And he had that big year in 23, right?
Yeah.
Like 12
Under
sacks.
Vic, he had 11 sacks, 6 forced fumbles in 16 games.
It's certainly an interesting name. And when we knew they were kind of going to trade for an edge, I think I was kind of championing Jalen Phillips, and you were kind of thinking Chubb.
No.
No?
No. Of those two, I was a Phillips guy, but I was actually talking about Jermaine Johnson.
Oh, okay.
From the Jets.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mischaracterize your trade expectations, but it's a good name. And the fact that he's a free agent won't cost you picks. I'm a little surprised they couldn't get anything for him.
His contract is a little prohibitive.
Yeah. He'll be 30 this summer. You know, I can't help thinking of like Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche, and that he would, that's what you would get. Certainly wouldn't pay a ton for him. I'd rather have Jalen Phillips, his former teammate.
Yeah, and I think by the sheer fact that the Eagles traded for Jalen Phillips tells you that, not all things were equal, but tells you that they were more interested in Jalen Phillips.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. But it's a good name.
And it's a good fallback option, too, because the Phillips thing to me, like, I've seen so many different projections of what his contract is going to be, and they're all over the map.
I've seen everything from like 12 million to 28 million.
Yeah. 12 million would be like run up and sign that guy right now. I don't know what he's still young, but he has a really significant injury history. Production was okay.
I mean, his two best years were his first 2 years, which gives me pause. I like what he gave this team last year. The sacks weren't there, but I thought he made the players around him better. I think he does a lot of intangibles, but I would be really careful about giving him edges make so much money now.
Some do. Is he going to get a Josh Sweat contract, or is he going to get a 2-year deal or a 1-year deal? I don't know. And we've seen kind of projections all over. Like, I'm very curious to see what he ends up getting.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't pay him $20 million a year. I'm not sure how he has $20 million to pay him.
I mean, you could figure it out, but then it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You're not operating in a vacuum, so
right.
But yeah, I think Chubb would be a decent fallback option.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Let's talk about the big fish out there, because it's become a huge talking point in this city, which I get. It's a fun topic. Maxx Crosby. We don't know if he's going to get traded, but it certainly seems like it's going to get to a point where he's going to want out and they're going to trade him from Vegas. He's just such an excellent player that but we're talking about, significant investment to go trade for him and then to pay him under the contract he has.
He's what, 28? I thought he was a little older. I guess he's only 28.
Yeah, I mean, he's young, but he's played a ton. I mean, this guy,
he plays every snap.
Yeah, he does not leave the field. It's like his snap count totals are ridiculous. For the last 4 seasons, he's over 94% each year. Played 1,000 snaps in 22 and 23.
And almost 1,000 last year.
Yeah.
And he's over 900, 6 straight years?
No. He played.
Yeah. Oh, 768. Yeah. He was hurt in 24. He's a great player. I worry about the assets you'd have to give up for him.
So let's talk about that. I mean, because I think Vegas is going to want a first round pick, right? Like they're going to want a first round pick at least. And that's not crazy based on some of the trades we saw, like the Michael Parsons, Quinnen Williams, like big time players on the line. They bring that.
I mean, if it was just a 1, I would do it.
So here's a CBS Sports, like a mock trade, which I like mock trades. I think they're fun. This has Eagles getting Maxx Crosby, the Raiders getting the first round pick in 26, and a second round pick in 27.
Yeah, it's that second round pick.
But then again, are you going to not get Maxx Crosby because you don't want to give up a second round pick?
Maybe.
Really?
To me, a 1 and a 2 might be too much. I don't know if he's as good as he was a few years ago. He had like a couple 15 sack seasons. Or I guess it looks like 12 and a half and 22, 14 and a half and 23.
He had 28 tackles for loss last year.
He did. No, he's still really, really good. I mean, I would still be interested. I loved having draft picks, and Howie knows how to stockpile them. So maybe a 1 and 2.
You get back a 4.
Get back a 4. It's intriguing. I would definitely consider it.
Maybe you can sell them on a 28 second round pick.
Possibly.
I don't know. It's enticing though, right? Like to try to add a player like that. And then you look at his contract, and his contract's kind of like a throwback based on the way the Eagles hand out money. The Eagles is all like no base salary, all bonus money, so they can spread it out over the length or a longer period of time. Whereas like Maxx Crosby has base salary of $30 million in 2026, which I can almost guarantee if he comes to Philadelphia, he will not have a base salary of $30 million in 2026. That's not how they pay out their money. But yeah, it's fascinating. How about this one? So ESPN's Bill Barnwell had a bunch of different mock trades. This one was from the Bears, but it kind of at least helps give you another valuation of Maxx Crosby. He had the Bears getting Crosby and a 2027 fifth round pick for DJ Moore and a 2026 first round pick. So now we're introducing player for player trades, which don't happen as much in the NFL, but Howie Roseman could pull that off.
I guess you would hope it would go better than the Eagles' last trade with the Raiders.
Ja'Cory Bennett?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, just had to throw that in there for Thomas Booker, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's intriguing, and I could see Howie taking a big swing on a Maxx Crosby.
I could too, and it falls in line with, I mean, very clearly interested in Micah Parsons, very clearly interested in Myles Garrett, and we were talking about Trey Hendrickson when that whole thing was going on, and to me, Trey Hendrickson was not in that group. Great player, but to me, not worth like mortgaging the future for.
Mm-hmm.
Maxx Crosby's in that group for me. Like he's not Myles Garrett. No one is, but when you're talking about like Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, Maxx Crosby belongs with those names.
I think Trey Hendrickson does as well.
I disagree with
I mean, he had a couple 18 sack seasons.
Mm-hmm.
He's older. He's like 31, 32. But I would certainly consider taking a big swing for Maxx Crosby. I mean, it's something they certainly need. I mean, Nolan Smith's coming off a disappointing year. I think that's fair to say. It was disappointing, even with the injury. BG's not going to be around forever. We don't know what's going to happen with Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, it's a position of great need right now because you have really two under contract.
You feel good about Jalix. I think he's only going to keep getting better. But you need more than that. And I don't know what's going to happen with Nolan Smith. Have we seen the best of him down the stretch in the postseason last year? I don't know.
You hope not.
I think he's got a lot of ceiling. Again, he's got a high ceiling, but I don't know. 3 years in, he's got like one good stretch of football.
It was a good long stretch, though.
It was a good stretch.
10 games, right?
Came at the right time.
Yeah.
Down the stretch in a Super Bowl run.
Yeah. Not a bad time for it.
But, yeah.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to listen to Cooper DeJean. I had a chance to catch up with him last week, and then we'll answer some questions.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today.
Joining us now, Eagles defensive back Cooper DeJean, who's partnered with wellness brand Renfro. Coop, busy season. You're in the offseason now. I saw you at Super Bowl. What was that experience like being a spectator this time?
It was a little different being a spectator. Obviously, my first time doing it. I didn't actually go to the game, but I was down there all week, doing the whole media tour and things like that. But obviously, I'd much rather be playing in the game. But it was a cool experience. Just kind of see what all goes on during Super Bowl week. Obviously, I mean I had no clue that all that stuff went on, behind the scenes during Super Bowl week. So it was kind of cool to see.
It's crazy to think that you're already 2 years into your career. Christian Parker, a guy who has had a lot to do with your success and the success of the rest of the defensive backs, he's gone. He goes to Dallas. What's that loss like, and how much did he mean to you in the 2 years you spent with him?
Yeah, he meant a lot to me. Me and Q especially. Just the time he poured into us in the film room, on the field, wherever it may be. He poured a lot of his time into us, making sure that we were ready each and every week, whether we were up in his office watching film with him on who we were playing, or out on the field, working on technique and things like that. But just a great football mind, and a guy who I believe will have a lot of success, in his future in the league. Obviously, hopefully, besides two times a year. But yeah, I'm excited for him. He deserves it. I know that's something that he's been working for, to be able to call plays and set up his whole staff and his own defense. So I'm sure he's excited for it.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's going to have a lot of success there, but I think it's probably time to introduce fans to the name Joe Casper, who replaces him. You've been around Joe now for a couple of years. What are you expecting from him in that role?
Yeah, I mean, just another guy who's got a great football mind. Brings intensity to the practice field, to the film room each and every week. Takes a lot of pride in what he does, in his job, and I've no doubt he's going to be successful, and coaching us and taking over the reins as the defensive backs coach. And I've been talking to him quite a bit. He's really excited about it, and I'm excited for him, for this opportunity that he's got to to coach us. And just a guy who's open to anything, and open to hearing from his players and taking suggestions from his players, which I think is really cool. Young guy still too. So we got a great relationship, with him, and our whole room does, really.
And you guys get Vic Fangio back for another year. Were you nervous that he was going to hang him up, or did you think he was coming back the whole time?
I wasn't really nervous that he was going to hang it up, to be honest. I mean, I didn't even know it was an option until I started hearing it. I think it was a couple weeks ago that he might retire. But I mean, I think there's still more. He's still got more in the tank for sure. With us. And yeah, I know he's excited about getting back out there.
You've been in the league now a couple years. You've seen the business side of it. You've lost teammates from it, but this one might be a little different if it's Reed Blankenship, obviously a free agent. What's the experience going to be like for you as he tests those waters and could potentially not be back?
Yeah, it's gonna be a little different, if he's not back. Obviously, just a guy I spent a lot of time with, and we got a great connection on and off the field. But he's got to do what's best for him and his family and his people around him, and I know he'll do that. And obviously, I hope it's back in Philly. Um, I'd love to. I'm sure everybody would love to have him back. But he's played well, over the past, however many years he's been in the league, and he deserves to get paid. So, um, but I hope it's in Philly for sure.
The All Pro team came out so late in the season, and then I feel like we didn't really have a chance to talk about it. Has all that started to sink in a little bit, that what you've been able to accomplish this young in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's really sunk in a whole lot. It's kind of, I feel like it's just what, me doing my job and the people around me, pouring into me and has allowed me to play at such a high level. I think is the biggest thing. I haven't really sat back and thought about it, because you're always just kind of, on the go, especially during the season. And you're going from week to week, and even after the season, like you don't, especially after a season where you're not in the Super Bowl and you don't win the Super Bowl, you're kind of just on to whatever's next, in that next season. So I really haven't thought about it a whole lot. Um, I know. It's I'm happy for Q though. I think Q deserved it, and what he's been able to do, especially last year, the way he played. But it's cool to have two guys who are in the same draft class, be selected to the Pro Bowl and All Pro.
Did that make it like more special for both of you
Hundred
to do it
percent.
together?
Yeah, I think it did. At least for me, it did. Just to be able to do it alongside him, knowing what we pour into the game, and the people around us who've helped us, like CP and Joe Casper, those guys. So it was pretty cool to have that honor with him.
So you've won a Super Bowl, you've been a Pro Bowler, an All Pro, you have a pick six in the Super Bowl. Like it's a lot already. Like what do you think is next for you? Are there personal goals that you still want to achieve?
Yeah, I think just continuing to improve. Really, I think um, for sure being a better player on the outside. When I do move out to outside corner, I think improving out there, just getting more comfortable being out there, for sure, and starting to play faster at the nickel position, trigger even faster on things that I see, and trusting what I see out there on the field. I think it's the biggest thing, and but really just overall, improving and improving my leadership too, my communication skills as well. I think is a big thing.
Do you enjoy the challenge of playing outside? It's like not that you had mastered the nickel, but it's like another challenge for you in your game.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Just being able to move around and play two different spots on the field. You got to train your eyes differently for each spot, which is definitely a challenge. But it's something that I enjoy. Especially throughout last season when I was moving back and forth. Um, it definitely is a challenge. Because outside you face a lot of the number one receivers out there, and inside you do sometimes, but not as much as you do on the outside. So, um, yeah, it was a challenge that I loved.
Obviously, you'd prefer to be playing in the Super Bowl, but you get more of a full off season this year. How do you plan on using it? What have you learned about the recovery process and what works best for you?
Yeah, I've been trying to relax and take a little bit of time off. Obviously, I'm getting back into training here now, but I partner with Renfo, who I'm here with today, and the things that they provide, for off season and in season recovery. Um, they got this eye massager that I use. Um, to help kind of relax the mind, whether you're just hanging out or you're preparing for a big game. It's really neat thing to use. And then they got a massage gun that I've been using this off season when I've been getting ready to train. To help kind of warm the body up. Um, but I'm excited to get back to work and just started back training again, and look forward to seeing the guys here in April.
Was there one person who kind of like said, as a vet, that said, "Hey, you got to start taking care of your body every
Yeah,
single day, not just in the off season"?
I think it's all the older guys. AJ, I watched him, AJ and Devontae, Saquon, the way they take care of their bodies. Something I never really did in college, but I've learned quickly, as I've got to the NFL and played in, two long seasons, that, taking care of your body is really the most important thing. Just to, be available each and every week, for your team.
So the eye massager's the move.
It is the move. That's my favorite. It's like you like use it for almost like meditation. You just put it on, sit back, relax. You got a stressful day, talking to us in the building. You throw that thing on and it plays like meditation sounds and massages you. So you have to try it out.
I will, man. Yeah, you guys make it real tough on me. Thank you, Coop. I appreciate it, man.
Of course, thank you.
We are back on the Eagle Eye podcast, brought to you by Nissan, Reuben Frank, and Dave Zangaro. What'd you think of Cooper DeJean there? I thought he gave a lot of good answers.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear from him. He's a sharp guy. I especially liked what he said about Christian Parker and Joe Casper.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, and what he said about Reed Blankenship. I mean, that's certainly one to, and obviously they're very close. That's one to keep an eye on. But it's just good to hear from him. And yeah, you forget, like, I mean, he's made the biggest play in the Super Bowl and been an All-Pro, and he's only played 2 years. And you just think about, and I love what he said about wanting to become better as an outside corner.
Yeah, that was the one thing that kind of stood out to me the most. Like his mind went there first. It was like, I got to get better. It's like the one, not even deficiency, because he's really good at it, but he's an All-Pro as a nickel. He plays outside sometimes. He wants to be an All-Pro on the outside.
Yeah, and I wouldn't put it past him. I think he could be a very, very good full-time outside corner. He wants to stay in the slot. He loves playing the slot, and he's really good at it.
Yeah, and I think their defense is better for it to have him in the middle of the field, involved in the action. But I also got the sense that they were like pleasantly surprised by how good he was outside this year.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. But you just love that desire. I mean, he's so accomplished already, but he'll just sit there and talk about how he wants to get better, and you love that about him.
Yeah. We got to start talking about, not right now, but next year he's going to get paid. Him and Quinion both coming up, and he's going to be a really tough one to figure out because nickels historically have not gotten paid as much as outside corners, but he's a full-time player now. We know how important he is. He has a chance to like completely reset the nickel market.
Yeah, I think the only fair way to do it is for Howie to give the two of them identical contracts.
Wouldn't that be cool? They sign them on the same day for identical contracts.
That's my prediction. That's my bold prediction.
I think that'd be tough just because you have the 5th-year option with Quinion.
True.
So you don't, like, you have that in your back pocket. That is a negotiating chip.
Right.
Where you don't have that for Cooper.
That's true. Man, Howie's going to be spending some money on defense over the next couple of years.
Yeah, you just think about those three, right? You have Quinion, Cooper DeJean, and Jalen Carter. Throw Jordan Davis in the mix. Yeah, it's all of a sudden, and he talked about this at the year-end press conference, that like the construction of the team has to flip. It has to, based on the way things have been built.
Yeah, Howie's just drafted too well for his own good. He drafts all these really good players, and then he has to pay him a second contract.
Yeah, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you got to let a Milton Williams go.
Or N'Kobe.
Take some questions?
Let's do it.
Eagle Eye at NBC Uni. That's Eagle Eye at NBCUNI.com. First one is from Ryan on that very topic. Hey, Reuben, Dave. There have been a lot of talk recently about the construction of our roster, our salary cap, and how we might have to do in order to sustain our success. Specifically, that we currently have majority of our cap resources allocated to the offense, with our defense being sustained by young draft picks on cheap rookie deals. I've seen a lot of discourse that the belief is how we might try to flip the formula to start drafting new offensive starters to offset the new deals we'll need to start handing out to our key young defenders. Do you get the sense that this is what Howie has planned for the future, and tangentially, if the construction of the current roster in this manner was done intentionally or just fell in place based on how the last few drafts ended up? If so, would you say this is a common or more abnormal strategy for salary cap management and or team construction?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's more a product of that they just happen to land a bunch of really good defensive players over a few years span. I don't think they went into it saying, let's draft defense and pay these guys, pay the offense and keep these guys on cheaper contracts. I also don't think Howie's going to go into the draft thinking I have to go offense just to get younger, cheaper guys on offense. You can't go into it. I mean, it's all he talks about draft week is you can't reach for guys at a position. I just don't think he'll do that.
Yeah, but the tie will go to offense, I think.
I'm sorry.
The tie will go to offense.
No doubt. No doubt. But you can't force the issue and you can't reach. That's when you get yourself in trouble.
And it's also worth noting that two of the biggest rotational positions happen to be on defense, happen to be at positions where they like to draft anyway.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like edge rusher and defensive line. A lot of those picks have come at those spots. So it's like you can draft a guy and he's not a starter, but he's going to play a lot. Whereas on offense, you don't have that as much.
Right.
A few spots here and there.
Yeah.
But I do expect it to change. Like I do think that just the nature of where they are, like, because you're right that I think some of it was just kind of happenstance. I think they've wanted to draft offensive linemen more.
He said that.
You know, especially last year, it didn't fall in line. So, yeah, but if I had to like rank the positions where they're going to draft in the first round this year, to me, offensive tackle is at the very top of the list.
There's a very good chance. But again, if that guy that they like isn't there or they can't go get him, he won't reach. That's one thing we've learned about him.
Next question, kind of, we're doing good. We're kind of falling in line where we need to here from Colin. Hey guys, first of all, I just want to say thank you for the podcast. It was the highlight of the football season, which is good for us, probably not good for the football team. My first question is about the draft. I know the Eagles will always draft best player available, but it feels like there are not a lot of needs this year. They could go receiver to replace AJ, tight end to replace Dallas. They could start replenishing the offensive line, or maybe even go edge. My question is, what do you see as the biggest need, and are there any players you have in mind that you would love to see playing for the Eagles next year? Thanks for all that you do.
It's hard to say their biggest need since we don't know who's going to be on the team. Like, we don't know what Lane's doing. We don't know what's going to happen with AJ or Goddard for that matter. So it's hard to really say what their biggest need is without knowing who's going to be on the team.
Sure.
If AJ's not here, you can make a case that wide receiver becomes their biggest need. They don't really have, unless you're the world's biggest Jahan Dotson fan.
Well, he's a free agent.
He's a free agent, but yeah, you're allowed to re-sign him. But I mean, knowing what we know and knowing what we don't know, I do think, because AJ could be here another 5 years. He could not be here at all. Same with Goddard. But we know Lane at some point soon is going to retire, whether it's this year or next year. Like, we know that they're going to have to replace him at some point. So that's why I think O-line, O-tackle, or O-tackle/guard is the number one priority without really knowing what's going to happen, just because we do know that at some point soon they're going to have to find a right tackle.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, there are a lot of variables, but they don't have the heir apparent in the building. So
No.
Whatever the building's called. So if you can go find that guy, and if he has the ability to play multiple positions early on, and he can be a backup at guard for a little bit, or he can play guard
Or starting right guard
for a year or two. Yeah, like I think there's value in that. So names, it's a little early for the names, but a guy that we're going to hear about an awful lot is Caden Proctor from Alabama, because he's massive. Is a tackle, but could probably play some guard. But then again, like, there's the Jeff Stoutland angle of all this too, and it's something that I'm really fascinated by. You and I have talked offline about this. We talked on the podcast about it, but the departure of Jeff Stoutland as the offensive line coach, like, how does that affect the way they scout offensive linemen? I don't know the answer to that. It might just be that it's like so ingrained in the fabric of the organization now that you won't see a difference, but we don't know that.
How do you think Stout would react if Howie called him and said, hey, Stout, I know you're not working with us anymore, but what do you think of that Alabama tackle, Caden Proctor?
I mean, Stout's still getting paid, so.
Take him up on it?
Think he would? Yeah, I think he would watch, don't you?
I'm sure he's already started watching those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think this year's going to be like for Jeff Stoutland not coaching?
I think he'll be fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think he's going to get the itch.
Maybe, but I mean, I know that he's wanted to spend more time with his family. I mean, he's not a young guy. It's a really demanding job.
Everyone says that until then you got to start spending time with the family.
Yeah.
You want to do one more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or two.
You want to do two more? Let's do this one, and then we'll end with a fun one. Dave and Rube, what are your expectations for the players from the 2025 draft for the 2026 season after a year of NFL experience? So, and he also asks, we have a fun one on the end of that, but let's go through the 2025 draft class, and we'll just see our expectations for those guys this year. So we'll start off with Jihad Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a starter, most likely. I really can't see a scenario where he's not if he's healthy. I'm really curious to see where he can take his game. I think we saw some signs of some really good play. We didn't see it consistently. Nakobe's better. He's just better right now. But I do think there's something there with him.
I do too. There was nothing that I saw this year that like it made me think he's not going to be a good player.
And I think it was tough for him. Like, are you a linebacker? Are you an edge? He was playing edge out of desperation there for a while, and he wasn't particularly good at it. I don't know if that held him back as a linebacker. I think hopefully he doesn't have to worry. I don't think he'll be in that position next year. He can just kind of focus on one thing. I think that'll help him.
Yeah. I still expect really big things from him. He has like the confidence he has is impressive to me.
It is.
He's one of those guys, you can just tell he's been the man at every stop in his life and he expects to be the man in the NFL. But it's not cocky. It's just in him. I don't know how that's going to translate, but that's kind of what I learned about him just from being around him for a year.
He has a lot of confidence. Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah.
He's fun to talk to. I love talking football with him.
Yeah.
And he's an extremely positive guy. I think he's going to put in the work. I'm curious to see where it's going to take him. I like the fact that he can do a little bit of everything. We've seen him in coverage. He's been good. There's great effort against the run. We've seen him at times get some pressure. So need a little more consistency and see where it takes him.
How about Drew Makuba, the second-round pick? What do you expect from him in year two?
I like the growth we saw as the year went on from him before he got hurt. I think that was really encouraging. I would expect that, and the injury shouldn't be an issue at all by the time like OTAs come around. He said he'd be fine. But I really like that we saw, because it didn't start out real pretty for him.
It was very up and down.
Very up and down. But I really thought we saw some consistency as the year went on before he got hurt. And if he can pick it up right where he left off, I think they're onto something with him. I think he's going to be a good player.
Yeah, I'm not as sold on Makuba as I am on Campbell, but it's to be expected. One was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
One was literally the last pick of the second round. So, but I do think there were good signs there. How about Ty Robinson? We don't have to go through all these guys, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where he's going to fit in.
Well, that's the funny thing is like they bring back all the defensive tackles.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he dropped down to number 4 and he really didn't play much.
Yeah. I wouldn't say dropped. I don't think he was ever higher than 4.
Maybe on draft weekend. Before,
maybe. Yeah.
We
thought he was.
But I don't know. I don't know what his role is going to be. I mean, he'll be here as a 4. He'll be here for at least another year.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't know where the playing time is going to come.
How about their 5th-round picks? Mac McWilliams, Smile Mondin, Drew Kendall.
I guess out of all those, I'm probably most bullish on Drew Kendall. I think Smile was a pretty good special teamer. We haven't really seen him in any other role.
Mm-hmm. I thought he had a really good training camp.
Max just didn't play. He didn't really play special teams either, did he? He didn't play many snaps.
Not really, yeah.
So it's hard to say where those two will fit in, if they will at all. Check out our Stay or Go series, by the way. We kind of get into some depth on these guys.
Yeah. I was surprised you had Mac McWilliams going.
I did. I just, the fact that he never even got, with all their issues, he never even got like a look-see was concerning to me. And the fact that he doesn't play special teams.
Okay.
Yeah. We disagreed on half our corners.
Yeah, that was a fun
stay or go.
Yeah, cornerback was the most fun one.
Yeah.
The last part from Craig, to kick the Super Bowl halftime Hornets nest, who would you like to see as the halftime show in 2027?
Man. I mean, I'm going to be realistic here. I would say like the
yeah, like let's pick.
Can't say the Tisberries, right?
Yeah,
probably won't be the Tisberries. Although I wish it was. I get a chance to play halftime Super Bowl show. It was really cool seeing Brandi Carlile here. You know, she did the America the Beautiful 2 days earlier, and she was talking about the Super Bowl, the whole experience and stuff. It was what a cool thing. It's been a while since they had like an actual like rock band, right? Maybe the Who. Were they the last?
Oh yeah. Who would you go with?
Maybe Spoon. Are they big enough?
I don't think they're big enough.
Spoon's pretty big.
Okay.
Maybe not.
I think a Chris Stapleton halftime show would be fun.
Interesting.
Yeah. He's big enough. I love seeing him do the anthem in Phoenix.
That was really good.
One of my favorite anthems of all time. Because he can kind of rock a little bit. He can go country. He can do a little bit of everything, a little blues in there. So I think he's got a little something for everyone. I think he'd be good.
I saw him at the BB&T or whatever it is. I don't even know what it's called. But, you know, it's funny how, like, our musical tastes are very different. But they, like the Venn diagram, like that whole genre, like Tyler Childers and Chris Stapleton, outlaw country.
Yeah.
Like I think we kind of, like when we were in Arizona, we were in that road we were driving around all week. That's all.
Sometimes it's like that's great listening in Arizona, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's all we listened to was outlaw country on Sirius XM in that rental Rogue.
Alex suggests a Post Malone plus Chris Stapleton. So I think Post would bring in a good crowd with that. Like I think that would help in terms of the sell.
I don't know. I don't know if you need the help.
Okay.
Who's yeah. When do they announce that? I guess it's
I have no idea.
Like in the fall.
Yeah.
I think Spoon's big enough.
Okay.
Probably get some pushback.
Maybe they can add Fork to make it a little stronger.
Get the whole silverware.
Silverware contingent out there?
Yeah.
If you have a question for us, eagle-eye at NBCUni.com. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, and I don't know why you wouldn't, please do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click that like button and subscribe there as well. Rube, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I'm enjoying the Olympics more than I expected to.
I've become a really big monobob fan.
Yeah, and congratulations to, and I wish I could remember her name, Myers, who won the women's, well, there's only women's monobob. She's
Alana Myers-Taylor.
Alana Myers-Taylor. She's apparently from South Jersey. Her parents met at Pemberton High School, and they're from Pemberton, and she still has family in Pemberton, the Hornets.
And I didn't know this when I was getting really into it the other day. That's my favorite thing about the Olympics is like, I didn't know that monobob was an event. And then I'm like watching, like, that was a really good run. she's got a shot at this.
I enjoy like any of the events where, like, I love the ski jumping, like any of the skiing events, the speed skating events. I love. Did you see the team speed skating where they tap each other? And
yeah, I like that. That
was wild. And somebody was wiping out on any sport where people are wiping out. I really enjoy.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's some drama involved in that.
Yeah.
I got into speed skating during the Apollo Anton Ono days. Remember him? Yeah.
Now there's a rumor you want to try bobsledding.
Yeah, I would like to try it.
I want to see that happen.
Okay, we'll figure out how we can make that work.
All
right. That's all the time for today. For Reuben Frank, I'm Dave Zangaro. This has been Eagle Eye, presented by Nissan. We'll talk to you soon.